Right, so news further afield, military chiefs from the West African regional bloc ECOWAS are meeting today to discuss a possible military intervention in Niger. The gathering in the Ghanaian capital, Accra, comes amid increased regional tension. SABC News correspondent Nabil Ahmed Rufai is in Ghana, brings us the latest. Nabil, good afternoon. Perhaps at this point, is military intervention imminent following the meeting?
Well, the military chiefs of the West African bloc met here in Accra a couple of hours ago. About 9 of them from the West African region really attended this particular meeting. Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, Guinea, and then Cape Verde did not have any representative at this particular meeting. Now, the conversation so far has been that this meeting is to allow the CDS of the West African countries to prepare an operational plan that would be put in force when they finally agree to send a military force in Niger. Already, they've said they would want to still go ahead with the negotiations or the dialogues with the junta leader to see how best they'll be able to return the country to constitutional order, but they will still would want to use the military intervention if all avenues in terms of diplomacy fails. So that has been the conversation the whole of this morning when the military chiefs really gathered here in Accra, and they've been in series of meetings discussing how they can mobilize logistics as well as the finances to really support any military intervention if it becomes very, very necessary to do so. So far, that's what we've gathered at this particular meeting.
All right, Nabil, perhaps also we could just speak to the sentiments on the ground in Niger. Have you heard anything, in terms of the potential humanitarian crisis that's also unfolding? What is the reality on the ground since the coup?
Well, in Niger, the conversation has just been a very strong pushback from the Nigerians against any ECOWAS military intervention. It so appears that the junta leader receives a lot of support from ordinary Nigerians who do not want any restoration of constitutional order at the moment. So we've seen them mobilize themselves, trooping to the stadium in Niger to rally support for the junta leader and the other military people who spearheaded the coup or the overthrow of President Mohamed Bazoum. But in fact, the humanitarian situation is really dire because Niger is already facing sanctions, economic sanctions, I should say, from the West African Regional Bloc, ECOWAS, and that has really impacted the lives of many people there. And one of the sanctions has to do with the fact that electricity has been cut. The supply from Nigeria to Niger has been cut, so people are going about without electricity in the country, and it's really affecting businesses at the moment. So there have been those who have called for further negotiations with the junta leader to see how best to get him to restore constitutional order so that all these sanctions that have been imposed by ECOWAS can be withdrawn. But that remains a very big conversation to see whether the junta leader would be willing to really hand over power to the ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. But we've even seen that just on Sunday, he has charged the ousted president with high treason, and that has really provoked the ECOWAS leadership.
All right, Nabil, thank you. Thank you for that update. We'll continue to monitor developments, perhaps as the clock ticks on. Nabil is our correspondent. Rufai is our correspondent in Accra, Ghana, giving us the latest there. We're trying to understand whether military intervention is imminent in Niger, of course, following the meeting of the regional bloc ECOWAS to discuss the possible military intervention in Niger. Again, thank you to Nabil for that update.